All right, I hear a private plane. Oh my gosh. All right. June 26, 2026. 7:59 a.m. All right, there it is. This is June 26, 2026. And the time is, wait, let it. All right. 1:48 p.m. I heard it. I heard it very nearby for a lot sooner than when I looked. But yeah, there it is again. June 26, 2026.
Mayfield Road and Wellington Central Road.
So I'm walking, crossing Mayfield and Golden Gate Boulevard.
Turn left onto Golden Gate Boulevard.
And there's a private plane, June 26th.
Turn right to stay on Mayfield Road.
2026. And I hear a helicopter. June 26, 2026, and it is I walked in and they were fine. They just, were ignoring me, and I'm just shopping and no big deal. And then suddenly, it was weird, they started watching me while I was shopping. I'm backing out of a parking space. And then when I left, I was at the corner of Mayfield and Golden Gate Boulevard. I went to the Best Buy, and two Mayfield Heights cops, one after another, drove into Golden Gate and then turned towards Best Buy. Two Mayfield Heights cops driving into Best Buy where I was. Now that's interesting. June 26, 2026. I purchased a 4-foot USB-C to USB-A cord so that I can attach my Mac to my Canon printer. I have a portable Canon printer. I had one before that was stolen from me by Mike Calabrese and Aldo Calabrese Sr. Another piece of my property that I didn't owe to them, that I worked my butt off to earn, that was just taken, completely allowed to be stolen by Dominic Coletta and then Janet R. Burnside and then Deborah M. Turner. Dominic Coletta belongs in jail. He created such a absolutely defamatory creation of my records within Lyndhurst Municipal Court. He belongs in jail. And these Mayfield Heights cops also. Well, I don't want to say whether or not, because that's just too much, but I just want this investigated. I really do. I don't do anything, nothing, absolutely nothing ever illegal in any way. I wasn't brought up that way.
Privacy policy on bestbuy.com. If you have an extension, please say extension. Now, what can I help you with?
I need to be connected to an employee.
Okay, to get you the right help, briefly describe why you're calling. Say something like, I'm checking my order status.
No, I just need customer service at the store. At the Mayfield Heights store.
If you're trying to reach a store, keep in mind I can't connect you directly to someone in a store, but I can still get you the help you need.
No,
Could you describe what you...
I want to speak with someone. See, I hate AI so much. So you cannot talk to a human being anymore. Okay, so first, I was on, oh, I hate how these vehicles stop and start. I was on, bus 9. And that girl who did the fist punching at Mayfield and Lee that one day, who I recorded and put on YouTube, she was on the bus, and she had this blonde wig on and her fake eyelashes, and her face looked swollen, and she was just like staring, not fist punching, acting like she's crazy after fist punching in the air towards me when I walked away. And then there's a guy who he got on the bus. He's an old guy. And I'm mentioning these people because I think that they're actually related to Cleveland RTA or Cleveland Cops or Cleveland Transit, or the sheriff. Now, this old guy who then entered bus 9, he was at he was at Whole Foods when I walked in. He just was walking around. He didn't buy anything. He walked into a Little Italy laundromat when I was in there. He didn't wash his clothes. He just walked in. So he's, and those aren't the only places that I saw him. Oh, and here's a Cleveland Heights cop. All right, let's see what happens. All right, so now these guys are too much. So he got on today on bus 9. I wrote the number down and everything, and he said out loud, he goes, "Oh, young lady, it's been a long time." It's okay, so all that extra stuff, whatever. He kept dozing off, and it's like he was responding to my statement that I made on YouTube about the air on the buses on Cleveland RTA. And he doesn't. He's an old guy. He has no idea about my YouTube channel. But it's like he was responding to it, because then when he then got off of the bus, it's like he got off at Mayfield and Severance. He held on to the I don't know if that was a stop sign pole or something. He held on to the pole and acted like he was struggling, like to breathe or stay awake or something. It looked so fake, and like as though he was seriously responding to what I typed on YouTube. So that's why I'm thinking he is definitely related to one of the people who watched that video. And that girl is also related to someone, to one of these individuals. I had walked up to, when I got off of bus 9, hold on, I can't look at my phone because I'm driving. To wait for a red light. I got off at bus 9 at Mayfield and Lee, and when I got off of the bus, I walked up Lee to Euclid Heights Boulevard. And then that's when I got on the 40. This guy wasn't on the 40. He got on the 40 after me. And like I said, he had, he had his, I think it's really warm today, and he had a gray hoodie on. I'm wearing the sweater because when I'm in the air conditioning of the stores, but I have the AC on right now. But it's warm today, and he had his hoodie on with the hood and his glasses on. He put the hood on, and that's what a lot of these individuals would do when they don't want to be recognized and they're on the bus to give me a message. Except for that one guy who got on the bus and was talking about, a condo and trust fund. That guy. Then someone else came on. Now, this person, when he had his hood off and his glasses off before he entered the bus. As soon as he entered the bus, he put his sunglasses on and his hood was on, and then he started to talk. And he was saying things like, Satan is, God has to release Satan in order for Satan to have his power. And he was saying just all kind of stuff like, and he said, a sociopath doesn't mean to hurt people. And so when I reported these guys for stealing, okay, they were stealing. They then turn around, call themselves victims, and then have been tracking my whereabouts for 20 years. Now, also, I said on within the description of one of my videos, I said, is anyone going to investigate this? Anyone at all? He then said, that people people ask for help, or because they can't do it themselves, or he said something like that. And then, I forgot what else. But it just seemed like it was in such clear response to what I put on my YouTube channel. So this might have something to do with, at first I wasn't really thinking that it was Bob Delansky, Cindy Delansky. But, maybe it is. And this guy also said that, they don't mean to hurt people, and then they cry victim. But that's what they're doing. They didn't mean to basically steal our association fees. I mean, if this is Bob and Cindy Delansky and not whoever is still alive from HPL Stampings Incorporated or their family, okay, well, they're the ones who are claiming to be victims by stalking me for 20 years. So they didn't mean to steal the association fees, right? Because Bob was doing the bookkeeping. So why were we paying the association fees? I did my deck. My father and I'm sorry, but I don't like referring to him as my father, but he and I did the deck. Before we did the deck, because it was peeling so badly and I just couldn't wait anymore, I had to do it. Before that, Bob and his daughter did it, but they were collecting association fees. And then, it's just everything. They were doing it. They were just the lawn work, the mulch, they were doing it. So, shoot, now there's construction here. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. I hate when these cars start and stop. So they're the ones who are crying victim, stalking me, arranging assaults, stalking me for 20 years based off of the fact that I reported theft. They were stealing from the other condo owners. They were stealing our money. And now they want to cry victim. Now they want to say that I'm the one crying victim. Well, they're stalking me. They're defaming my character, and they're receiving assistance from the cops, from even Cleveland RTA. Cleveland RTA, the cops, even the sheriff. They're receiving assistance. I didn't do anything illegal. And that must, that must be why they're then calling these stores and saying, watch her because she's a thief. Because they're the ones crying victim. I didn't steal association fees. I didn't steal people's $50,000 credits because, yes, that's how much they were. And that's the HPL stamping side. Those credits from those stampings were owed. They were really expensive. To do a metal stamping, that's not $10. That's not like a little $10, accounts payable on their end and accounts receivable. That's no. That's a lot of money. And so now they're these individuals, and this guy, he's related to him, he's family, and they then sent him on the bus to give me this message. And so I asked him, when he said, that they then cry victim, I asked him straight out, is that your family? Because you know what, it is. And he was saying, psychopaths and sociopaths. Now, if that was a message from me that I didn't have any feelings to report theft, well, you know what? These people who let's just say if this is HPL stampings, the family members of them. Well, guess what? The individuals who they stole money from had families. They had children who they were putting through school and were saving for them to go to college. or maybe they even had children in college and they were paying for that college. They had businesses that they had to run. So if those weren't good stampings and that money was owed to them, then why did HPL Stampings Incorporated keep that money and tell me I wasn't allowed to tell the companies that they were owed that money? If this is Bob and Cindy Delansky and Christine Maselli, because Christine Maselli and her OBGYN boyfriend who lived next door to her, they were helping Bob and Cindy. They knew all about it, and they were fully helping. So whatever happened from that, because I reported it. That's not sociopathic. That's not unfeeling. That's and that's as far from satanic, because see, Satan steals from people. God sends his messengers to take care of it. God sends his angels to take care of it. So think about that. If that was a message for me, because there were a few things in there that related to my YouTube video. So let's just say it was, okay? You morons are the psychopaths, because you have stalked someone who did the right thing. You stalked someone who reported theft. So grasp that now. Grasp onto that and think about it. Why does that bother you? Answer that. Why does that bother you that I reported theft? That I reported wrongdoing? I didn't want my money stolen. Is that satanic? Is that narcissistic? I didn't want my money stolen. I'm able to say the St. Michael prayer. Are you? Do you even know it? I'm talking to them. If it is them. Do they know the St. Michael prayer? St. Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God and I rebuke him, I humbly pray. And do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the other evil spirits who prowl about the earth seeking the ruin of souls, amen, and who stalk, who assault, who defame someone's character. Them too. All right, I'm going to add on to the video that I just did because I have more to say. I know that they had something to do with Tiki's death. I had two little Maltese, Tiki and Treasure, and when I was going to school in Columbus, I was staying at extended stay hotel. I was paying $800 a month, and I was leaving my dogs inside of the hotel room. I started to feel like, well, my suitcase was definitely, the employees went through my suitcase, and then they would even comment about my clothes. At the time, I thought that they were talking about the clothes I was wearing. But my suitcases were definitely gone through, I can tell, because I had everything folded very neatly. And Tiki's, my Maltese were brothers, and Tiki, his whole disposition changed to where he became paranoid. So he was being badly harassed inside of the hotel room while I was gone. And there was a man with 2 large dogs who they were actually allowing into the hotel room. I wanted to sue extended stay hotels, and that went nowhere. I actually had information. They made false claims that they were in the room to do repairs. There weren't any repairs that needed done. The phone line, there was issues with the phone line, but I actually verified that they had nothing to do with fixing it, and I recorded it. I don't have those recordings anymore because my father, my piece of shit father, and just family, I hate even referring to them in that way, they have everything. They have everything because I didn't owe rent. And so from that, they have all my property that I worked my butt off to earn. So I know that these absolute psychopaths who are now just so upset that they're stalking me for 20 years because I reported the fact that they were stealing. I want to say that, HPO Stampings Incorporated to finish that they were stealing customer credits. But at the same time, now, wait a minute, is this now more Bob and Cindy Delansky and Christine Maselli and whoever that OBGYN doctor is I don't remember his name. Is this them? Because that would make more sense, because they were also coming into my condo, because when they started messing with my livelihood, they started immediately. My condo went into foreclosure. Me, the one who works my butt off, and that's when it started. It started in 2004, because they started coming to all of my jobs. I was waitressing, and they would lift the tips up. They would go up and they would lift the tips right off of the table of other people, of other servers. So I knew right away that something was happening, that it had started. They were coming into my condo when I was staying upstairs. I was allowing anyone to just come through and just, look at it who wanted to buy it. But I had cameras out. They were finding the cameras and stealing them, stealing the footage, stealing the recordings that I had inside of the flash drives that I had inside of the cameras. So complete crooks. These guys are absolute crooks. I had called the mayor of Brecksville, and he seemed to be pretty on board with Bob and Cindy Delansky. So, this is, that's not God. That is full-blown Satan. But, they have to be victims. They have to be victims. And so they want to now turn it on me to say, oh gosh, I did something wrong. I reported them stealing, and that's bad. I should have let it go. I should have allowed them to steal my monthly, I think it was $150 association fees. I should have, and I'm kind of thinking this is Bob and Cindy Delansky now. It's possible that it's also HPO Stampings Incorporated. It could be both. It could be both kind of just clashed together. And I had two sides coming after me. Whether or not I also had my father tracking me because he didn't like my independence, I don't know. But this is 20 years later. So we have people who don't like the fact that I recorded them stealing over $50,000. As far as HPO Stampings Incorporated goes. And then as far as Bob and Cindy Delansky, Well, it was either, those association fees were either $150 or $105 a month. So, go ahead and that's over $12,000 a year from 5 condo units that they were stealing money from. But I was mean to say, well, that's wrong. I don't want over $12,000 of my money being stolen, and I'm going to report you. Well, I deserve now to be stalked for Tiki and Treasure. Treasure actually had jumped off of the bed to help his brother Tiki, and he split his shoulder blades. These are 2 little Maltese. So go ahead and think of what you want to do to these people. Because let's just go ahead and just think about it. But now, I'm wrong. I'm wrong for not allowing criminals to be criminals, for allowing individuals who killed my cat. That guy who sent me that video through Reddit for our cats, he poisoned my cat with antifreeze, and he sent it right to me. They harmed Tiki and Treasure. They came into my jobs. They stole over $12,000 from me a year, because I moved in there in 2004, and then it went into foreclosure, and I couldn't find anyone to take it, and so I was like, take it. And so, it was 2010. So at least when I was able to afford the association fees before they started to attack my life, which is totally illegal. So they stole $12,000 just from me alone. Okay. In addition to everyone else, but that makes me a narcissist because I was thinking about not only about myself, but other people. That makes me a criminal because I was reporting their theft. That makes me a psychopath and a sociopath because I was reporting their theft of over $12,000 a year from 5 units. And it makes me a sociopath and a psychopath that I'm also, that they harmed Tiki and Treasure, my Maltese, and killed my cat with antifreeze. So that makes me satanic too, because God would do the opposite, God actually, wait a minute, got that wrong, because God would do the same thing as them. God would steal over $12,000. I'm being sarcastic right now, but this is what's in their fucked up heads. Excuse me, but it's true. God would steal over $12,000 a month, a year from over 5 units of condo units. God would harm 2 little Maltese by going into someone's hotel room. God would falsify documents, court records about a person. God would defame someone's character. God would arrange assault against a person. God would harass a person. God would arrange for physical and sexual assaults to be committed against a person. God would kill a cat with antifreeze. My goodness. So I didn't know all of this, okay, because I thought that God sends his good people in to say, I need you here right now because I need you to take care of this. That's what I thought, because I thought God is good. But I guess that these psychopaths, I must be calling them psychopaths, incorrectly, because they didn't have any feeling to poison my cat with antifreeze. They had no feeling to harm Tiki and Treasure, no feeling to arrange sexual and physical assaults against me, to have me harassed, to defame my character, to call every single job, including People Ready. And People Ready actually decided to participate. Winolo decided to participate. So, they have claimed without any feeling, without any conscience whatsoever, that I'm an alcoholic, that I'm a drug addict. So I guess that when they say that I now want to cry victim, and I can't do it on my own, well, that's obviously them, because I've been dealing with this for 20 years. I would like to see them deal with something like what they have done for 20 years. And I still don't consume drugs. Chemicals, I'm very sensitive to chemicals. Dust tears my hands apart. When you have seen my hands and they have been torn apart, that's from working in the warehouse. I absolutely can't stand the smell of cigarettes, vapes, marijuana, and they know this, and so they arranged even to drive cars next to me, past me, with the windows open, people smoking it, or even arranging for those degenerates from the YWCA managed whorehouse to sit next to me or sit within my path, and so. And alcohol, like I said, I can't handle 2 sips, and anyone who knows me knows that. 2 sips and it's like, we didn't see her drink a lot, what's going on? I can't handle it. But these guys seem to somehow, their minds are just try to make sense of it, right? Because I can't. These guys are fucked up. These individuals are like, when people break into someone's house and they get shot, their mother then says, well, that was a little rough. You shouldn't have, you could have found another solution. So that's what these people are like. We will do anything for them. We will go anywhere to keep them safe. We will do anything to keep them safe. But we never know what's around the corner. And when they're killed or mistreated, and we turn to our laws, who are supposed to protect us, we find that we are alone. We are alone in our feeling. We are alone in our fight. And this is all that I can say about this, because the courts are going to give the people Who hurt him? A slap on the wrist. And I can yell. And I can continue to pursue and fight. But here in Ohio, and in so many other states, and in places around the world, it's just too much time to take. It might interfere with their lunch. It's my constitutional right to fight. My little one was killed. But it's a misdemeanor. Just pay about maybe $2,500, $300. It's not the money, but it's the pain you want them to pay for. You want them to feel it in every possible way. And since greed exists, make them feel it in the pocketbook. And then I say, I don't want it. Give it to the Animal Legal Defense Fund so that they can continue to pursue laws. And these lawmakers are there for us. They're there to make laws for us. We go, we can request, but it's up to them whether they're going to approve it. It doesn't make any sense. You have so many people fighting for the same thing. Stricter laws for animals that are killed. That's a pretty large vote. That's a really large vote. That is a huge agreement among millions of people to change the laws against cruelty to animals. From that agreement, millions of people, there's no reason why it shouldn't be immediately enforced. They didn't care about a 12-pound Maltese, in which extended stay allowed a man to walk into the room with 2 large dogs into my hotel room to harass Tiki and Treasure. And Tiki was protective of his brother and me. They were brothers. They were born together. So he would have done his best, that little 12-pound little guy, to defend his brother. I noticed him becoming very, very paranoid. Just when I took him out for a walk, he was looking around everywhere. But quickly, and that wasn't him at all. Tiki had a lot of confidence. He was a real confident little dog. He even walked with confidence. So and Treasure's back. In these courts, someone stepped in and told this judge how that ruling was going to go. And the judge obeyed. It has continued. This hasn't, because then look at with my cats. You know, I can't help but even wonder if, because my father was a member of Club Molizani, and the cops were also members of Club Molizani within Mayfield Heights. I know that for a fact because they were in pictures. I saved them and then they were taken down. And so I saved them, I published it, and then those pictures, their pictures that were posted in Club Molizani, taken down. Whether or not they put them back up again, I don't know. You know, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of attorneys, there's a lot of judges that within Club Molizani. There's a lot, you know, there are so many levels of government who are members of Club Molizani, where my father was also a member. And I can't help but you know, think that when my father wanted to come against me, he had a few conversations with those levels of government who are members of Club Molizani. One of them was definitely Dominic Coletta. And like I said, Dominic Coletta didn't stop. He didn't stop there. He didn't stop with just, okay, I'm just going to take everything away from her and then, you know, told my father, be happy with that. No, Dominic Coletta took it further and added multiple, that I was involved with drug law enforcement costs and alcohol treatment costs, that it just absolutely never happened. Never happened. I can't handle 2 sips of alcohol. I have never touched a drug in my entire life. I took a job in, when I was in Perrysburg with fresh something. And they deal with aerosol sprays, air freshener. I am so sensitive to chemicals. It affected me so badly that, yeah, I can't. I seriously cannot even, I can't handle the smell of vape aerosol. I can't handle the smell of marijuana. I can't handle the smell of cigarettes. Chemicals, period. I am so sensitive to them. So that bullshit that I was ever even in trouble for drugs is, you know, these people belong in jail, right? And here is 055 exhibits. And this is the way that they were copied. So I guess if you want to ignore evidence, this is the way to do it, right? This is the way to copy it. I kept all of that paperwork and it was stolen from me because I didn't owe rent. It was my home. And they asked for 0.00, but all of my property was stolen, everything. And this was you know, Dominic Coletta of Lyndhurst Municipal Court who allowed this because he's friends with my father, and then apparently then got a real sick obsession with me. If he didn't delete it because I didn't receive it, he claimed that the court date was completely canceled. No. It occurred. He must have used that court recording for something else because it exists. And I did record the court appearances for the eviction. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic for that, but one thing leads to another constantly for 20 years. But yeah, these are my exhibits that I no longer have. I can try to go in more, zoom in even further. Nothing. Absolutely can't read it. Can't read any of it. And now thinking about how I no longer have these documents. And the idiots probably threw it all away. Michael Calabrese of 615 Bishop Road sent me a letter while this eviction was going on and said to me, now mind you, I never thought about Michael on a daily basis. I had my own life. I had my goals that I was always fighting to achieve. I didn't even go to parties. I wanted to work. However, Michael Calabrese, Joseph Michelangelo Calabrese, sent me a letter and said, I know that you always thought that I was worthless and stupid. And I was thinking, I 100% never, ever gave him a second thought during my day. But Michael, who is severely insecure, was obviously thinking about me. And his thoughts were obviously, whatever his paranoia was, whatever his insecurities are, he was becoming extremely angry. And then he sat with my father, who was another nut job, and I then have all my property stolen from me because Dominic Coletta is friends with my father. I never, ever got to testify. See? So there was this involves some high ups, very high ups, and then like I said, they then received joiners, or joiners then jumped on board, because these individuals like the Cleveland cops, Cleveland Transit, RTA, they felt protected because there isn't anyone who's going to get them in trouble. There isn't any lawsuit that's going to go through by me because they're completely covered. Because this is from a level of high up. Now, I don't think that like someone like Bob and Cindy Delansky could achieve something like this, or the individuals from HPL Stampings Incorporated. They couldn't achieve that level of do this. Listen to me. This court case is not going to go through. You are going to grant summary judgment. Just because then later on, years later, with the eviction, Judge Janet our Burnside, it never went to the court in front. I never got a trial. Judge Deborah M. Turner, never. Now, if it isn't law enforcement who are related to the individuals, Bob and Sidney Delansky, or the individuals from HPL Stampings Incorporated, if it is, did any of them have friends or family within a government office? I know that the mayor of Bob and Cindy, within Brecksville, he absolutely jumped right on board with Bob and Cindy. I don't know if maybe it was the bookkeeping thing. I'm not sure, but I called and he just defended them. So, that's a mayor of a city. So I know that they had friends. Now, I reported HPO Stampings Incorporated to the FBI. And so when I did that, is that how high up this goes? And I keep returning to that because you have to think 20 years later, and there are individuals who work within county and city governments. You know, the cops. That's city. That's and FBI do jump in on that. I sent this to the governor, and the governor actually he is allowed to investigate the cops. And so the fact that it doesn't occur, the fact that it doesn't stop, it has been going on for 20 years, means that these individuals who I'm turning to say, please investigate this, it's not going through for a reason, because someone is stepping in and stopping it. All right, here's another exhibit, N59. Can't read it. Not even when I zoom in. And you think about the lack of a conscience that not only from extended stay, but also from these courts, from these judges, a complete lack of a conscience. And for anyone to not have allowed something like this to go through, and I was asking for the money to be given to the Animal Legal Defense Fund. So for anyone to show, I'm not doing this for the money. So for any one of these judges, and even years later, in 2018, 6 years later, when I then filed, even then, when I think about Tiki, yeah, this is I get upset. But even then, 2018, you know, it went in front of more than one judge. First, it was Magistrate Keith Belkin. I went into the courtroom with him and couldn't testify. Then Coletta, he got the appeal. Then the Cuyahoga County Court of Appeals. Then the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas, Court of Common Pleas. And then that was Judge Janet R. Burnside. And she was a plain idiot. But it was like a deliberate stupidity. You know, I told her, you know, when I submitted the search and seizure of my property, she said, "Oh gosh, I don't know." And I told her it was private. I don't know. I have all these law books to read that are around me. So it was a complete stupidity, but it was deliberate. And then Turner, I'm going to be nice, because man, what my words for that thing are not nice at all. They will cut that piece of shit deep. So she didn't allow any of anything to go, you know, for there to be any trial or anything. And she granted every single person. It was, no, you're good, goodbye. Every defendant. So yeah, so this is someone who is high up, who is given the orders. And obviously, Judge Deborah M. Turner is able to be ordered. Hey, little boy. Hi. Come on, baby. Come on over here. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. I'm right here. Hey. Come on. I'm here. Come on. Come on. Good morning. Come on, it's okay. Come on, baby. Hi. Hello. Hello. Good morning. 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 Hi. Hi.